Skirt's fault? Okay.
Well, remember thing on first.
That's what everybody does. So.
Good luck and good luck.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
This is them mispositioning a plate. So. So we're looking at the right side of frame 2A. The sill is at the left, and then you see the end rafter. And with all these damn triangles, there's a lot of connecting. The guys struggled and they found one way to put it together, as you can see. It was really important that you keep the apex at the right height. It's kind of tricky because otherwise if the height is different, your diagonals won't fit in the frame. So having said that, we'll walk over and start where they started. I kind of thought you could start in the middle of the frame and build both ways, but they worked from one bay in from the left, and then they worked around. And what they did is they attached the rafters here. You see the one with the two holes, that's the rafter, the short rafter to the front vertical, and then you got the second longest rafter for the upper slope. They put those in the diagonal first, and the diagonal is the bar kind of running that way, and that's your kind of following the steel, kind of, sort of. So those two bars go in, then they went up and they put the horizontal crossbars in all the way along that rafter. To note, all the channels had been pre-attached, and this connection was made loose so that the bars could kind of be wiggled around a little bit yet. So you've got all your horizontals in, and then they put the end rafter on and hooked it on all the channels. And after the horizontals were in place, then they dropped the diagonals and bolted everything together. And if you haven't seen, this is the typical connection. And those bolts go actually through the crossbar, through the channel, and they tap into the plate welded to the diagonal. Kind of think of the diagonals as nuts for the screws holding the crossbar. So now you've got one bay built here, and then you've got this bay built on this side because you just had the rafter. And then this is the sill tube. We were kind of mixed opinions whether the sill tube needed to go in or whether you could put the sill and the head on last. The guys in the shop built the frame with the sill and the head as they went. To the next connection, they would again put the rafters in, and then the horizontals. This bar is dead connected where it comes into the hip, and so is this one. So look for the sheet metal covers that you'll need to close them off, and you'll need the dead connection to get it in. Again, they left it loose so they could get the crossbars all the way down, and then they dropped the diagonals in last. And pretty much they followed that sequence all the way through the whole frame. So it's the diagonal bar and the rafters loosely with the channels on the rafters. Put in the crossbars, kind of get everything where you need to. Attach it at the head and the sill, and then drop the diagonals in last and run the bolts through the crossbar. This is the typical header detail where you've got this fork support that you want to attach to the rafter, and it's got rows of bolts in the middle that tap in and then through bolts, and you can see we left grooves so that they could pull glazing strip for you. And then you've got a splice in the header with the typical plates and bolts, and then the diagonal is kind of free of the rafter to be connected. And that's pretty consistent all the way along. The only special note is on one side of the header we have this little notch with a piece of pipe welded into it, and that's because you're going to be really close to the steel. It actually will sit inside of that pipe. So kind of look for that. You don't want to get your header turned upside down. This is underneath, and you can see where they dead connected the crossbars. They took quite a notch out of the damn thing. So you ought to be able to get them looped over. And then remember to put the glue on covers. And then you can see one of the supports right here. And those are lined on and welded to the rafter. And if you look, this one has code U4. That's going to match the supports you've already attached. And you want to be careful because there's a couple bars that are all identical. And in order to know which bar goes to frame A and frame C, you're going to need to keep track of that support code. And they will have stamped that U4 on the top of the plate so you can track it with your coding sheets for the supports that you already did. We're back here where the triangular lights sit on the diagonal, and you can see where we're going to weld in the glass stop. And the upper lights, they're triangular and they're kind of sitting on the diagonal slopes, so they're going to want to walk to the left. Remember to put a glass stop in the rafter at the bottom corner to kind of keep them from sliding downhill. We just thought those plates could be loose because once they're in and kind of pinched, they shouldn't go anywhere. But kind of watch out because if you look at the plan, they're all marked with a big symbol. But the triangles on top of the diagonal need a side block to hold the glass in place. Okay, these are supports. You'll find them on pages 14, 14A, 16, 19. They're all kind of standard. The bigger ones go on 14 and the little ones go on 16. These are the shims for your supports to the little stubs that have already been attached. If you look, they're all coated to match the stub. And you'll kind of know it when you look at the rafter. They'll have matching things. We're not going to paint them, so you'll have to touch up the edges if anybody can see it. But you'll get little shim packs. And I left a lot. Try not to have any more than 2 loose shims at any connection. That's what the engineer likes. And hopefully that's enough shimming for you. The other thing is I will have to make notes in a plan view because some connections are figured tight. So you should be hard on them right from the beginning, and then the other ones have a shim underneath them. So give me a call and we can walk through that and I can tell you which ones are which. These are more supports, some gussets for the header with a little stiffener welded in, and those are the tubes that hang vertical. If you look, there's a little angle welded to them. That's to attach some inside cladding. We'll have to get that out to you as quick as we can. To stop any guessing here, we're going to measure from the header all the way down to the floor.
103 inches.
103? So you want the peak to be 103 inches above. And you can see here where we got the sill laying right on the cement. Good luck working that in the mud, but you know, we gave you what we could. You can see how the frame kind of looking edge on this, the vertical, and how it folds back quite a bit. So that's the header for one. That's the sill for it. You can see the 15-degree turn. It's the miter at the end of the sill, so that you can mirror it. When you put it together with all three, your sill tube should kind of tell you that you're matched up good. And then there's a sort of a compound miter version at the header, so that when you put it together next to the other one, they'll make like a little square shape, and you'll know you got the frame in the right spot. The other thing is keep track of it, and when your crossbars that you can see here, if you put a level on them, when all your crossbars show level, you should be in the right spot and you can anchor it down. I'll try to give you some other dimension to locate this corner of the sill back to the steel angle so you have a way to know you got the frame in the right as well.